Well, hello kids. Today, you're tuning in to Dyeing with Trav here at Paradise Fibers. I'm going to show you how to turn this into this. And no, I am not a dyeing expert by any means. I am just a hack, but I like to have fun and I like to have specific colors with my yarn and my roving. So I figured out a really quick and easy way to dye with the country classics that we sell here at the shop, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Alright, so first off, you've got to weigh out your roving. Usually I'll do like 8 ounces. That's what I'm doing today. If you want to do replicate exactly what I am performing. This is 8 ounces here of our Portuguese wool here at the shop. Feel free to use whatever you like, merino, BFL, whatever you want to dye, as long as it's an undyed wool of some kind, because the country classics will only take with protein fibers like wool or silk or nylon. So anyway, we're doing wool today, and this is Portuguese top. So I've already weighed this out, and then I'm going to go ahead and prepare the wool for dyeing by getting it all set up in a big donut. So I've got a microwave safe tray here, but anything that's a microwave safe tray will work great for you. And there's other ways you can do this. This is just the way that I like to do it. You can do like a big snake if you want to do that, back and forth across a piece of plastic, and then roll it up. It's another method I've seen people do. I haven't tried that yet, but it looks cool. We're actually putting this on the tray here right now, just so we know when we are going to do the cooking and put it in the microwave, it'll fit nicely on the tray. Alright, so now we have to tie this guy up to kind of keep it all together, just kind of like a skein of undyed yarn. Very similar. I've just got some mercerized cotton here that I had lying around. Now don't use wool, because wool will absorb the dye. And so this is cotton, so it's not going to actually take any dye. It won't affect the process here unless you tie it really, really tight, which is also something you can do for a style kind of effect, but we're not going to do that today. And it may look like I'm kind of tying these tight, but really it's going to be very loose once we get it all wet. I'm going to tie it in 3 places here. Alright, I'm going to trim our ends real fast. Cool, so now we have our donut, and you notice that it will fit on our tray really nice because we made it on our tray. So when it's all sloppy and wet and we've got all the dye applied to it and everything else, it'll fit in the microwave really nice, and everything will go smoothly. So now we need to soak this guy. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in our bath that we have prepared with some Synthropol. I just put a splash of Synthropol in there. Once the fiber is good and wet, after about half an hour in that Synthropol bath, then we can drag it out of there and wring it out and get started applying some dye. So I'm going to go ahead and put some plastic over our table here. This is where we're going to be dyeing. This helps to make sure you don't make too big a mess, and then when you're done, you're going to actually use this plastic. You're going to wrap up our creation before we heat it up in the microwave. Yes, the microwave, that's right. And I actually have a separate microwave here just for that purpose. So now we're going to go ahead and prepare our dyes, our dye stuffs. And you can see I've got these little guys all labeled out. I was actually using these very same colors earlier, and so I'm just going to leave the bottles labeled the same, and there might be a little bit of dye in there that's not going to hurt anything. These are the same dyes that I've been using. But you want to make sure before you get started, label these before you get going. And it is very important to label them because they don't always look like the color that it's going to end up. So like, look, this is butterscotch. That does not look like butterscotch to me. So I'm not going to know what color that is unless I have that label on there. It's super important. I'm gonna go ahead and fill this guy 3/4 of the way up. This is an 8-ounce jar. About 6 ounces in each of these guys. About 3/4. Okay. So this is the Country Classics dies. We saw these here at the shop. They're very easy. They work great on wool, silk, or nylon. And these powders are often very different from the end dye result you're gonna get. So I just put like a heaping spoonful in there, maybe a little more. So for this particular recipe, we're just gonna go 3/4, and I'm gonna do like a heaping spoonful of dye. And this is the chestnut here. Of course, this doesn't look like chestnut, but it will after it's all done. Okay, just grab a plastic knife here, and you always want to use disposable stuff if possible. You can dedicate some silverware to this kind of stuff if you want to, but I would just say, you know, get some plastic. Like Mom, when she does her dyeing, she actually applies, a lot of times she'll use a spoon to kind of ladle the dye into the nooks and crannies of your big fiber donut that we're making. Okay, so that's well stirred up there. And if you're going to reuse this knife, you need to wash it off super good. Don't just like dip this into the next pot. That would be very problematic. That's sort of common sense, but I want to say that. And I'm going to go ahead and mix all the rest of these up, and then we'll start applying. So now all my dyes are all mixed up and they're all labeled so I can see which colors I'm actually going to be applying, because the colors in the bottles aren't always the same as what you're going to end up with after we cook it and rinse it. And you can see the colors I'm using today are chestnut, pumpkin, butterscotch, and tiger lily. We have those available on ParadiseFibers.com if you do want to grab some of those. And I think we even have a kit that has all of these accessories in it with the dye and everything else. So now it's time to get our fiber out of our center pole and water solution here. We've had it soaking for at least 30 minutes. Some people will soak it overnight. I know Mom does out at the house when she's got all that time. I don't have a lot of time right now, so I'm just gonna soak it for 30 minutes. It's been soaking. And I've pressed all the air bubbles out when I first put it in. I'm just checking right now to make sure there's no other air bubbles in there before I pull it out. And it looks like it's really well saturated here. Very, very sloppy. And I've got this sort of, this is like a baking grid that I was able to get at the restaurant supply place. We actually use these for pizzas here at the shop when I'm cooking for the guys. They work great for pizzas and draining your fiber. So we're gonna go ahead and wring this out a little bit. Just kind of give it a little squeeze. You still want it to be really wet, but not super wet. I'm just kind of squeezing out the majority of the water here. We're gonna actually go over to our table here, and we'll go ahead and just set this down. I'm gonna actually get some gloves on here. These are plastic food service gloves. You can get them at Costco or a restaurant supply house. Okay, and when I apply the dye to the fiber, I'm gonna kind of cut it into quadrants, okay? Kind of like a pizza. And maybe 3 inches, every 3 inches I'm gonna switch colors, okay? And I wanna have really different colors. So right now I'm using tiger lily, chestnut, pumpkin, and butterscotch. Here we go. It's gonna start applying here, and we're gonna wanna only apply it to this particular section here. Gently squeeze on your bottle and make sure you squirt right on the fiber there. You're gonna have to pick and poke around in here and lift up a lot of the fiber to make sure you get it in there. If you miss it, it's going to be kind of white, and we don't want that. So you gotta kind of open up, find those white spots. And I'm almost hardly not even squeezing, I'm just kind of, just a little bit of pressure on there. And have fun, you know? You're not gonna mess it up. I am definitely not a dyeing professional. I'm a hack, self-proclaimed dyeing hack. I've only done this one other time actually, and as an experiment, believe it or not. And you're saying, hey Travis, why are you doing a video if you don't know what you're doing? That's exactly why I'm doing this, because I want to show you how easy this is and how much fun it is. I got some really cool colors, even my first time. It's very cool, rustic oranges and stuff. And this orange actually turned out like it was one of my favorite colors of the bunch. So we're gonna call that good. Okay, we're out. Okay, so let's get, what are we doing now? Let's do some chestnut. All right. And so we're gonna kind of alternate from the oranges and the browns, okay? It's really weird. I don't know if you can see that on the camera there, but it's really blue. It looks weird. But it's gonna be chestnut, I promise. I think. All right. That's kind of one of the things with doing the donut style like this. It's hard, and see it, darn it. If you get a drop of this on the orange, it's gonna look kind of funny. It won't look too bad on the yarn, you know, but if you're gonna resell these, you don't want the like little spots like I just did right here. Oopsies, make it a streak. There you go. I meant to do that. Yeah, right. But that's the whole deal, man. This is fun. It's pretty darn easy. And you get just the colors that you want that no one else has even thought of yet. You can do it, man. It's very fun. And this is kind of Mom's method of doing this. I've watched Mom a lot of times, and this is my kind of quick and dirty way of doing what she does. She does a lot more prep where she'll soak the fiber overnight and things like that, which I'm just too lazy to do it. I don't want to do that. I want this to be done right away. I want roving to spin like tomorrow. Okay. And even though these dyes look really, really similar, they're gonna look really different when we get them done, as long as I don't smush them together too much. And the thing is with these country classics too, you gotta be careful, because when you combine them, they don't always combine with positive results. So many times you'll just end up with brown. It's not very cool, especially when you're doing like blues and reds and stuff that you do not really want any brown in there. Looks like this is our last little piece. I think we are ready to wrap this guy up and bake it. Carefully. All right, now it's time to bake it in the microwave. Let's do it. I'm gonna go ahead and take off my gloves now because everything is sealed up, it's all clean. We're gonna cook it for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna, we'll cook it for 5 minutes in there, and then what we'll do is let it rest for about 10 or 15. And this is all gonna be depending on your microwave. This worked really good for me for 8 ounces, 5 minutes was perfect. And then, anyway, you go ahead and do it for 5 minutes on high, then you have a 10 or 15 minute rest, you let it cool down, just leave it in the microwave, let it steam in there and kind of do its thing, let those dyes attach to the fibers with all that steam and heat. And then after 15 minutes of sitting, do it for another 5 minutes, and then let it set for, oh geez, a couple hours probably. Just, you can take it out of the microwave and let it sit. Do not rinse it right away. You will felt your fiber. You want to let it sit, let the fiber relax, let it cool to room temperature, and then we can go and rinse it. Now we're going to go ahead and rinse off our fiber in the sink here. All right, be careful. Now you notice I got my gloves back on here. Anytime you got dye flying around like this, it can get on your clothes, get on your hands. You don't want to have to wash it off your hands later. So it's really nice to have the rubber gloves. Here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of put this through the water, rinse it off. A lot of dyes coming out of there, but that's okay. Means we probably used a little bit too much. We could use less next time. Got some cool colors going, you can kind of see. The oranges and the browns there. Kind of a fall color spectrum there, color set. And we'll go ahead, drain this out here. Pretty much all done rinsing off here. I'm gonna go ahead and I've got some apple cider vinegar here. I'm gonna go ahead and just drop in a good splash. And we'll run another little water here, a little batch of water. Okay, and there's our last little vinegar bath we gave this guy. It's a bath of vinegar and water. Kind of helps the color to set a little bit. And that's the last bath that we're going to give it before it actually gets hung up to dry, okay? Cool, look at all those colors there. I don't know if you can see them all, but it came out really cool, I think. I'm going to put it on our rack we used earlier. Also, if you happen to have a salad spinner, they work really good for getting out the excess water in your fiber after you're done. Today we've gone from boring, undyed, Portuguese roving to awesome hand paint, and really it only took about 30 minutes worth of time, and with the help of the Country Classics dye, it makes it really, really easy. Make sure to give us a call if you have questions, or visit the website www.paradisefibers.com. This is Travis from Paradise, signing off.